In recent news, a worrying trend has emerged. Dozens of young Colombians risking everything to join a foreign war, lured by promises of money, adventure, or a way out of economic hardship. From secret social media groups to clandestine flights, this alarming development raises serious questions about exploitation, security, and international law. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at the shocking reality behind this wave of recruitment, the reasons driving young people to the front lines, and the urgent measures needed to protect them. Stay with us as we discover what's really happening and what can be done to prevent more lives from being lost in a distant conflict. A flight carrying 50 young people from Colombia to Ukraine is raising concerns about their potential massive involvement in the conflict against Russia. These citizens are reportedly traveling to Ukraine to join the armed confrontations against Russia. A worrying situation because it reflects a growing trend of Colombians seeking to become involved in war zones, despite meeting all legal requirements to leave the country. A flight scheduled for the afternoon of Wednesday, June 25th, from Bogotá has raised concerns among Colombian authorities, as at least 50 young people are expected to board the plane bound for Ukraine to join the hostilities against Russia. Military information indicates that most of these passengers are between 20 and 22 years old and recently completed their mandatory military service in Colombia, according to W Radio. Although they have the necessary documentation to leave the country, both the size of the group and the purpose of their trip have raised concerns for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Colombian immigration. It has been reported that there are no legal impediments to these citizens traveling abroad, as they meet immigration requirements and have all their papers in order. However, the authorities' concern lies in the destination and purpose of the flight. The mass exodus of Colombians to the war between Ukraine and Russia is a phenomenon that, while not new, has reached unprecedented proportions due to the number of people on a single flight. This trip is part of a growing trend of young Colombians who, after completing their military service, seek opportunities abroad, including in conflict zones. Mass recruitment via WhatsApp, more than 300 Colombians linked to the Cartilla Brigade. The news of the flight comes amid an increase in digital recruitment, primarily through WhatsApp groups promoting the incorporation of foreign fighters into Ukrainian military units. W Radio accessed one of these groups, in which more than 300 Colombians have received invitations to join the Cartilla Brigade, a formation that operates under NATO standards. The messages offer detailed information on the selection process, requirements, travel logistics, medical benefits, and salary structure. Requirements include being between 21 and 50 years old, having military or police experience, a valid passport, and having enough resources to cover the cost of the trip. Applicants often participate in virtual interviews, receive guidance on living conditions in Ukraine, and receive details about base pay and combat bonuses. The brigade, which presents itself as a model for the future Ukrainian army, promises equipment, rigorous training, and a monthly salary that can exceed $2,000, depending on the level of exposure on the front lines. It also offers comprehensive medical care and residency options for those wounded in combat. I came for money, a Colombian's testimony in the trenches of Ukraine. The story of Andres, a Colombian soldier with experience in the armed forces who has been fighting in Ukraine for more than 10 months, reveals the concrete reality behind this phenomenon. In an interview, he explained that his decision was primarily motivated by economic reasons. I came for money, to be able to save and get ahead. My country, my family, the economy, and well-being are my priority. Andres learned about the possibility of joining the conflict through TikTok, where videos depicting the lives of foreign combatants circulate. After receiving a letter of invitation, essential for circumventing diplomatic restrictions, he traveled to Ukraine, where he went through an admissions process and completed 30 days of initial training before joining the combat lines. During his stay, he has lived in abandoned houses, faced discrimination from Ukrainian soldiers, and taken extreme risks. He asserts that payments are only given to those who participate in combat, and that desertion can be fatal. "You have to leave there dead, wounded, or desert," he said, describing an environment where foreigners have less support and greater vulnerability. Despite the circumstances, Andres says he has received the promised payments and acknowledges that the experience has allowed him to support his family in Colombia, although not without facing fear and sacrifice. Commentary. The situation described in the article highlights several troubling issues related to the participation of young Colombians in international conflicts, particularly the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. The mass travel of young Colombians to Ukraine, motivated by economic necessity and facilitated through digital platforms, raises serious ethical, legal, and security concerns. Critique of the situation. 1. Exploitation and recruitment. The use of social media and messaging apps like WhatsApp for mass recruitment reveals potential exploitation of vulnerable populations, especially young people seeking economic opportunities. Detailed information about benefits and salaries can attract people unaware of the serious risks involved, including death, injury, and psychological trauma. 2. Legal and diplomatic risks. While authorities claim there are no legal barriers to these individuals' travel, the broader international implications of Colombians' involvement in foreign conflicts remain complex. Their participation could have diplomatic repercussions and undermine Colombia's neutral stance or trigger strong legal measures against unauthorized travel. 3. Humanitarian and security concerns. The narratives of young recruits, like Andres, underscore the very real dangers they face, including discrimination, extreme combat risks, and precarious living conditions. The fact that many are untrained or poorly prepared suggests a risk of high casualty rates and long-term physical or mental health consequences. 4. Psychological and ethical implications. Sending or encouraging young people to participate in armed conflict can have lasting psychological impacts, including trauma, guilt, and lost opportunities. Furthermore, the idea of mercenaries or volunteers fighting in an international conflict raises ethical questions about their use as agents or pawns. 5. Lack of oversight and regulation. The recruitment process appears to be unregulated, with no formal oversight, increasing the risk of fraud, abuse, or exploitation. The presence of organized and militarized groups recruiting through social media indicates the need for greater government intervention. Proposed alternatives for the article's subjects. 1. For young recruits, educational and skills development programs. Encourage young Colombians to seek education, vocational training, or job opportunities in the country or through prestigious international programs. Facilitating access to scholarships, apprenticeship programs, or entrepreneurship initiatives can divert young people from illegal or dangerous paths. Promoting peace and civic participation. Authorities and civil society should promote awareness campaigns that emphasize the value of peace, diplomacy, and national development. Involving young people in community projects can foster patriotism and constructive national service without risking their lives in foreign conflicts. Legal pathways to international work or study. Create or promote legal channels for international work, study, or volunteer opportunities that comply with international laws and standards, ensuring safety and legality. 2. For authorities and policymakers, increased monitoring and regulation. Implement stricter controls on social media platforms and messaging groups involved in recruitment, collaborating with technology companies to identify and remove illegal recruitment content. International diplomatic efforts. Work diplomatically with Ukraine, Russia, and international organizations to address the issue of foreign fighters, possibly establishing agreements or protocols to prevent illegal recruitment and protect citizens. Support systems for at-risk youth. Develop support programs for economically vulnerable youth, including financial aid, mental health services, and career guidance, to reduce the appeal of joining foreign conflicts for quick financial gain. 3. For the international community and civil society, awareness campaigns launch international initiatives to inform young people and their families about the dangers and illegality of participating in foreign conflicts as volunteers or mercenaries. Assistance and reintegration programs offer support and counseling to those who have participated in or intend to join these conflicts, encouraging voluntary return and reintegration into their communities. 4. Address the impact of war on the civilian population. While the capacity for individual action should not be suppressed, diplomatic solutions, humanitarian aid, and efforts to end the conflict should be prioritized, reducing the need or desire of young people to become directly involved in these hostilities. Conclusion: the situation underscores the critical need for comprehensive strategies that address the root causes, poverty, lack of opportunity, and misinformation, that drive young Colombians to participate in foreign conflicts. By investing in education, employment, legal avenues, and social support, Colombia can mitigate the appeal of these dangerous activities. Simultaneously, international cooperation and rigorous regulation are vital to prevent illegal recruitment and protect vulnerable populations.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future ideas that challenge us to think outside the box. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, and don't forget to always maintain that curiosity that drives progress. Also, explore even more fascinating content on our channel. From life-changing tips and cutting-edge technology, to the mysteries of spirituality, travel to various countries, delicious recipes, health hacks, and language learning, there's something here to spark your curiosity and elevate your life. Dive in and discover a world of knowledge awaits us.